So this, if the peanut gallery behind me would stop laughing, is the second Albuquerque interview with our real estate expert, Zabdiel. First of all, I want to know, this is actually a perfectly valid question. How did you get the name Zabdiel?
So the story goes that my mom was one day at church and God told her that she was going to have a son. And later, because of the message, she started looking in the Bible and she found my name and that's what she chose.
Well, I remember now, Zabdiel is a character that you would miss if you didn't know the name. I mean, you would like slide right past it. But from what I remember, he was the captain of like 10,000 men. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe he was a general of one of David's generals who was in charge of around 10,000 men. I think he's also mentioned somebody else as one of those kind of genealogy, like this person, and his father's name was Zabdiel. So yeah. So
do you find that that's difficult to live up to be the commander of 10,000?
It would be nice if I were the commander of 10,000 men. Who knows what I would do, but...
Do you want to be the commander of 10,000?
I mean, who wouldn't want to be the commander of 10,000 men?
Oh, well, I don't think I would. I don't have those. I don't have.
It would be nice. I mean, again, I don't know. It probably wouldn't be conquering any armies, but I could have him do some chores or something.
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask you, if you were the commander of 10,000 men, what would you command them to do?
I mean, that's a tough one, but maybe like some yard work.
Yard work?
They finish so quickly.
10,000 people. Can you fit 10,000 people in your yard?
Okay, we probably couldn't fit 10,000, but maybe I'd have them build some houses. That would be nice.
Build houses?
Yeah.
Where?
Well, I would need an ideal location, but if I could choose, it'd be like Los Ranchos here in Albuquerque, which is a very sought after part of Albuquerque. Or maybe somewhere in Nob Hill area, but there's hardly any space. There might not even be space for 10,000 people to be congregated at the same place at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, a house could go up pretty fast with 10,000.
Yeah, if the Amish can do it, I'm sure my men could.
I don't think the Amish have 10,000 putting up houses at one time. I'm trying to picture that in my head. If you have 10,000 Amish, how many horses do you have?
I don't know. Oh, wait.
This is a pass or fail question. If you fail this, then you fail the test.
How many horses? What was the question again?
If you have 10,000 Amish, how many horses do you have?
10,000 Amish, how many horses? Well, doesn't their carriage typically fit 2 people? So would it be like half of that? So 5,000 horses?
So 0.5 horse per person. What if you only have one person?
The reason why is my thinking is, from what I've seen in films or movies or shows, there's typically a carriage and there's typically 2 people sitting in it with a horse in the front.
I'm sorry.
Unless it's a 2-horse carriage, in which case it would be 1-to-1 ratio. But
just trying to picture the half horse still in my head. I'm sorry.
Half Amish man, but yeah. Yeah, so I would say,
if you had a half Amish man, then you would have a quarter of a horse.
That is very true. A pony.
A pony.
You'd have a pony. So yeah, I don't know how many horses for 10,000 men.
Is it 8,000?
No, 10,000.
No, 8,000 if 2,000 men don't need horses.
Yeah. It depends. If they're like modern Amish and they have vehicles, in which case a single car could have hundreds of horsepower.
Oh, good point.
That's
good
true.
point on that. Yes. Well, now I wanted to ask you about the Albuquerque real estate market.
Yeah.
So say you want to purchase a 1,400 square foot house with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms.
Okay.
Yes. In a nice neighborhood.
Nice neighborhood. I am gonna have to ask what do you think nice means to you?
Well, only a few homeless people and not very many methods.
No comment, but no, I think a nicer neighborhood. Let's just say the Northeast Heights, 1,500 3 bed, low or high 200s, low 300s. You can get something okay.
And how does that compare? Okay, you are young.
Yes.
But since you are a studious person, I'm sure you're going to know the answer. How does that compare to house prices, say, 10 years ago in Albuquerque?
Oof. Well, back in the day, you're just your starter home, your adequate, maybe a little bit of fixing up, but just like a really solid A-OK house, you could probably afford for. If you were lucky, sub 100. Typically, I would have said somewhere around the low hundreds. You can probably find an adequate house, and a house typically, in comparison now, you're lucky if you can find it under 260.
I mean that's the way of the world and the way of the devaluation of the dollar.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's just that people in New Mexico, they really don't have a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know there's a lot of complaints made, about people from outside when they come potentially with a lot of equity, and they come with, they come from places where a typical house will sell for, $1 million or so, and they come here and what's 200, 300,000 to them, what's nothing.
Right. And that's actually happened to a lot of places when Californians leave. They'll sell their $1 million homes and they'll go to other places, and then they drive up the real estate market so that the local people can't buy houses any longer.
Yeah, which I've often wondered if it, and I think some places do, but I've often wondered if it would be a good idea to potentially put some sort of law. It might get a little, political and a little bit like anti-free market, but it wouldn't be the worst if there was programs that would help people who are originally from, in this case Albuquerque, to be able to have some sort of competitive edge against, someone who comes with a decent amount of money. So there is programs currently where they will, provide you some sort of financial assistance to be able to keep up with those high prices, but I don't think it's enough for the locals here.
So my next question is, how long have you lived in Albuquerque?
Born and raised. I've lived here my whole life.
You're an Albuquerqueño. Albuquerque. How do you say that?
I believe the correct term would be Albuquerqueño.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I got that wrong. But since you're from Albuquerque, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you plan to stay in Albuquerque?
I do see a lot of potential here. I think it's a great state and also a great city. So I think there's really a lot of potential. There's so much opportunities and so much untapped potential that is still to be seen here in Albuquerque.
Right.
So I think I think you can make it big here with maybe not as much competition as if say you were to move to like a Seattle or New York or California. I think you can do it fine here if you're okay with the big city or medium city, small town environment.
Well, right. And plus, Seattle, and if you're talking New York as in New York City,
Yeah.
Those places rain a lot. And so there's some benefit to getting the sunshine in your rain, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've often wondered, like one thing that I've always noted, I've heard it more often is like, seasonal depression, or our winters here are pretty wintry, and our summers are pretty summery, but
I like that. They're very summary.
That is one thing that I would maybe consider one day at least spending a good chunk of my year is like maybe more south, maybe Arizona, maybe more Mexico is, you have that constant nice weather, that constant summer. So that would be really nice, I think.
I was looking at Pueblo, Mexico. It's kind of south of Mexico City.
Uh-huh.
It has a really temperate environment. I thought that was really appealing. I'm like, I'm moving there.
Yeah, well, I think I mean the elevation. There are things that your health. I think over time your health does take is affected by not only our high elevation but just our very dry climate over time.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one reason that I would consider maybe at least spending a few months out of the year in the future in Mexico, because that constant your winters are warm and nice and your summers are warm and nice, so that'd be nice.
Yeah. And if you go to a place where there is more rain than here, then yeah.
Yeah. And and the cost of living, not to mention.
Yeah, and of course, all my favorite bands. But let's not talk about that right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, now I called you a real estate expert, but what do you like? What are your aesthetic favorites in houses? What do you look for when you...
Aesthetic favorites?
Yes.
Well, I always used to like, the old mid-century, a lot of character house. But when you hear a little bit of these horror stories of like, oh, we need to replace the pipes because of lead, or the asbestos here, or the radon there. That's where I'm a little bit more hesitant and more considerate of like, well, maybe, an early thousands home, although the quality might not be there, and it's sometimes very cookie cutter.
Right.
I mean, there's obviously benefits. So, but just aesthetically, just like from what if I were just to judge based on what I see, I mean, a really nice, older home with a lot of character and good build quality would be, I think, really nice.
Yeah. Are there any specific details that you like?
Wood flooring is nice. They typically do come with wood flooring. These older houses, that's always really nice.
Right.
I feel like sometimes you can just tell when a house was quality built. I think quality built homes, they tend to, even if they're outdated or if it's, been many, many years since they were built, you can still see that it was a quality built home, by details here and there.
Oh, yeah, like the real wood, for example.
Exactly.
Like I live in a 1962 house, and all of the kitchen cupboards are all real solid wood, and they're from the 60s. They're the original. They're the original.
Yeah, so that is nice, because I know that all throughout time there's always been houses being built, but I'm sure there was more like budget friendly houses that maybe didn't have the best quality as opposed to
And the whole real wood thing just doesn't really happen anymore.
Yeah, it's very uncommon and pricey, obviously.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for talking to me about Albuquerque and the real estate market. And
Of course, I appreciate your time.
And for passing the math tests.
Someone had to do it.
Yes. You get a solid A++. I passed you with an A++. Well, thank you, and we will talk to you again.
Thank you.